Hello captains, and welcome back to the BoomerangSimPilot channel, where rearward Airbus procedure meet the virtual skies. Thank you very much for joining me on this video. Thanks a lot for all members and also channel subscribers. And today we are diving into something a little different and a lot more challenging. I am bringing the Airbus A319 into one of the UK's smallest airports, Lydd Airport, Echo Golf Mike Delta, which feature a short runway and an offset ILS. Now, just to be clear, you would never see this in real-world airline operation, but that's exactly why this scenario is so great for sim pilots, as I decided to only exercise touch and go procedure, not a full stop landing today at Lydd Airport, which will lead to a go-round finally at the final and last approach to the airport that we'll initiate together. In this video, we will explore the full approach, brief the offset ILS, and explain how real pilot would manage the visual segment after an offset intercept. This one's packed with realism, challenge, and a few fun surprises. So whether you are here to learn, to be entertained, or to test your own simulator skill, you are in the right cockpit. As always, thank you to our channel members. Your support helps keeps these deep dive tutorials flying. Let's get into it. Let's brief it up and take it step by step. Welcome aboard. Right now we are maintaining 5,000 feet and we are on an initial approach fix. For ILS DME runway 21, which located at the southeast of the airport at radial 117 from the India Lima Delta Yankee at 16.5 miles. As a definition and also description about offset ILS approach, the offset ILS approach is an instrument landing system approach in which the localizer antenna is not aligned exactly with the runway center line, but instead offset at an angle typically up to 3 degrees, though some are more. The localizer beam is angled left or right of the runway center line, meaning the final approach course does not point directly down the runway. Based on ICAO definition and regulations, generally, despite being offset, the approach may still qualify as a precision approach category 1 if the offset is 3 degrees or less. If the offset exceeds 3 degrees, it is no longer classified as a true precision ILS. Instead, it's usually published as a localizer only or localizer DME approach. Let's jump into the airport diagram and also plan view of this airport for the Lydd Ashford Echo Golf Mike Delta. As you see, the final course is for runway 21 that the mentioned ILS for today approach is. The final approach course is 212, but as you see, right now the final approach course fit this ILS DME approach is 207. It means, according to information, localizer course is about 5 degrees offset from the landing runway, which is runway 21 centerline course. And there is another reminder for the flight crew that offset localizer is available for this procedure. Okay. But why are offset ILS approach are used typically on this airport and some airports with the designed offset ILS approaches? Offset ILS designs are used when a straight-in localizer alignment is not feasible or safe due to, in some airports as well as Innsbruck in Austria, which airport is located with the high terrain. The first item is terrain, high ground, hills or mountainous terrain near the extended centerline prevents safe straight-in pass. The second item is obstacle or buildings. In some airports, man-made structures may block or interfere with the localizer signal path. The third reason for offset ILS approaches are runway layout constraint, which physically space around the airport, in example coastline, cliffs or valleys, makes offset geometry necessary. The third reason is aerospace conflicts that we will more pay attention to this item later. It means adjacent runway system or terminal aerospace may require alignment adjustments for separation. The fifth and also last reason is environmental or noise restrictions. Offsetting the final approach path may avoid flying low, overpopulated or noise-sensitive areas. Return back to the fourth item, which was the aerospace conflict. As you see here, upon reaching the initial approach fix, we will later on proceeding to 14 DME arc from the India Lima Delta Yankee, which is the ILS DME, descending 3200, and when passing the radial 037, which is a lead radial, will commence turn to the final approach course on course 207 and descending down after reaching the final Foxtrot India 21, which is the final approach point, down to the runway with a 5 degrees offset angle. But there is an area with the name of Echo Golf Delta -141, which is a danger area, which located here. Due to this area, for designing this approach procedure, designers shall and design this approach with the 5 degrees angle on the final of runway 21 down to the runway, just because of this danger area with the Echo Golf Delta 141 title. Later we will see that how we will shoot the restriction of following this final course when reaching the final approach course, and there is a limitation for us to proceeding on. But here are some operational considerations today for us on board Airbus A319. They are, according to recommendation, and also the nature of the approach, which is almost 5 degrees offset, that we should maintain at the last stage just above the minimum or decision altitude with the 570 feet, keeping the runway visual and turning left to align with the runway center line. But another restriction is it's not a localizer approach. That's ILS DME for runway 21 today. With regarding to glide slope angle, there is a 3.5 degrees angle from the final approach point, which is located at 8.5 miles from the ILS. It's an outer restriction. And also there are some other restrictions that we should be observe about the misapproach procedure and also about the landing runway width and also any other item. According to this special procedure, we are descending to go through the early stabilized approach. I talked already about the approach speed techniques. In a previous video, I put the link below, and also you can find the two part of previous episodes about the decelerated approach and early stabilized approach at the link which right now show above this video. Operational consideration will be at the first strictly recommended of early stabilized approach due to limitation of approach and airport, weather, terrain, obstacles, and other restrictions. Then the aircraft will track the localizer using lock mode, but the pilot must visually correct for runway alignment once visual contact is made. Auto land is not available on offset ILS approaches. These approaches require manual landing once visual cues are acquired. Then you have to attend that cannot rely on rollout guidance. The approach remains stabilized as long as configuration, speed, and descent are within tolerances, even if lateral correction is required on the short final. But for the in-flight handling, first we will fly the ILS normally using localizer and glide slope until near minima or decision altitude, then expect visual acquisition of the runway before or at the decision altitude or maybe before, then go visually align with the runway center line during the last segment. Make the FDs or flight director off, and also then autopilot disconnect and land manually. Never do the auto land as briefed already due to some items as well as rollout guidance. And finally, be aware of possible lateral displacement at minimums. But there is a big question. Is flight director recommended during the visual segment? For a short answer, it's definitely not. It is generally not recommended to use the flight director during the visual alignment segment after an offset ILS. But why? The flight director will continue to command the aircraft along the offset localizer, even when you need to visually maneuver to align with the runway. If you are visually correcting the flight path, the flight director cues become misleading, trying to pull you back toward the localizer course. Airbus and most airline SOPs recommend to turn off the flight director when you go visual below minimum of decision altitude and you need to manually align with the runway. as in offset ILS or circling approach. So, how can Echo Golf Mike Delta still publish it as a precision ILS, although the offset angle is more than 3 degrees? As you remember at the beginning and also introduction of the offset ILS approach, I mentioned that if you want to design the 3-dimension or 3D approaches within a offset actually criteria, you should observe the 3 degrees or less offset angle between the localizer and also extended runway centerline. But today you see that the localizer course offset is almost 5 degrees and the approach procedure is based on ILS DME runway 21, not localizer DME runway 21. But how is possible this actually difference between the definition which I talked about already? At Echo Golf Mike Delta, Lydd Airport, the localizer for runway 21 is indeed offset by about 5 degrees by the approach is still categorized as an ILS, which by ICAO and FAA definition is a precision approach. It seems to contradict the general rule that, let's talk and break this down. At first, ICAO vs or against or in compare with state AIP flexibility. It means while ICAO document 8168 recommends that for an ILS to be considered precision, the localizer must be within 3 degrees of runway centerline. It is ultimately up to each state regulatory authority, in example, United Kingdom CAA, to approve exceptions. Echo Golf Mike Delta's offset ILS has been grandfathered and in or approved as a special case based on terrain, aerospace restriction and constraint, and the operational history of safe use. Second item is mitigation in procedure design. Echo Golf Mike Delta ILS runway 21 uses higher minimum than typical ILS 1 ILS approaches. As you see, the decision height is for this approach based on 4 category Charlie aircraft, which is Airbus A319, is in this category. The decision height is 558, almost 358 feet higher than a normal category 1 ILS decision height. The decision altitude is actually evaluated, ensuring the pilot has time to visually align with the runway. No auto-land capability is authorized, and this keeps the approach typically precision in guidance type as both localizer plus glide slope, but operationally handled more like a non-precision approach that we will see later during the approach. The third reason that why although we have a 5 degrees offset, but it's an ILS approach for runway 21 is published as ILS, but actually with notes through the approach plate and also through the AIP for the pilots. It means the United Kingdom AIP and Jeppesen chart will usually include caution, like localizer is offset 5 degrees, which you see here, and also within a bracket and car here. offset localizer that notify in both and the two places that the localizer offset is within this chart, and also this approach is based on. Visual alignment with the runway required before landing. Autopilot guidance may not align aircraft with the runway centerline. But final thought. Even if the offset exceeds 3 degrees, an ILS approach can still be published as precision if the local authority, in example UK CAA, deems it safe, but with operational limitation and clear pilot caution. There is another question. Why Lydd Airport and why not? Why Lydd Airport are unsuitable for jet aircraft in real world? As you study more, let's check the aircraft condition. Okay, we are still on holding 5,000 feet maintaining. As you refer and also study more about the Lydd Airport, you can find that there are lots of limitations that leads the non-jet aircraft are operating here. There are no jet aircraft due to some limitation can operate at the airport of Lydd or Echo Golf Mike Delta. The runway lengths and performance limits. Although the airport received permission in the year of 2013 to extend runway lengths to potentially support jets, payload restrictions and safety margin remain significant constraint on jet and commercial operation. Non-scheduled service since 2018 after Lydd Air ended its turboprop charter service in 2018. No new airline or operator introduced jet service into Echo Golf Mike Delta Airport. And also charter and general aviation use only is available in this airport, which the airport is now used mainly for private, corporate or general aviation flights. Available report and booking platform shows only light to medium jets with the lower than 20 passenger, not bigger aircraft types are operating in this airport. As a result, real-world limitation, show runway, offset ILS, and lack of jet service mainly are restrictions of this airport for jet aircrafts. You can see that taxiways Alpha and Delta, which is located here with the which is Alpha and also Delta here, only available to aircraft with maximum takeoff weight not exceeding 5,700 kg. It means taxiway Alpha and Delta are not available for the jet aircraft, as same as Airbus family, for example Airbus A319. Taxiway Alpha is restricted to aircraft with wingspan not exceeded 15 meters. Our wingspan of Airbus A319 is 34.1 meters. And the runway 03 right hand circuit, runway 21 right hand circuit for aircraft with maximum takeoff weight above 5,700 kilograms. These are mostly the limitation that the parallel taxiway are not available for the aircraft, and also the another is, although the Airbus certified the Airbus A319 for the runway with the width of 30 meters or above, but 32 meters is marginal, and due to this structure and also design of the runway, all jet aircraft are need to backtrack the runway, which there is not any area for or extra area for make a backtrack at the runway threshold. There is a short runway with 1,505 meters for this airport, and this is another limitation that jet aircraft cannot easily land at this airport. These items are the reason that why at the beginning of this video I told you that we are going for a touch and go procedure, to exercise the touch and go procedure already, and right now we are proceeding for the final approach, which led to the miss approach procedure, and go to the destination of Southend Airport, London Southend, which is Echo Golf Mike Charlie. This airport is not beneficial about the economic for the airliners. An example, because of the lowest landing weight and also observation of landing capabilities and margin, they should carry less fuel, which make the possibility of diversion to alternate airport make very harder with lots of limits. Right now, today, with the 6,300 almost fuel, our gross weight is 49 tons right now. That is very light for aircraft, jet aircraft, as same as A319. Also, the airliners should carry minimum payload that is not beneficial and economic for airliners. The other reason is the usage medium or max manual brake, which have adverse impact in brake saving and also aircraft health. Today, with the almost 49 tons of weight, you see that our landing distance required and also factor landing distance are marginal with the medium auto brake and maximum reverse thrust. The last item, which is very important about the operational reason, our touchdown need to be firm. Spoilers out, reverse max, and there is no room for floating here at this airport and this runway. But let's go for the approach chart and see something here that what does it mean when you see this icon or asterisk near the frequency and also identification of the ILS? The first reason is indicated the offset localizer. It means the asterisk often means the localizer is not aligned with the runway center line. The second reason is non-standard ILS facility use. Means the frequency might serve multiple runway or multiple approach type. The same ILS frequency could be used on a back course. Localizer only or shared between ends of a runway in some cases. This requires pilot attention to chart details and also identifiers. India Lima Delta Yankee. Right now we have India Lima Delta Yankee here with the correct frequency and also actually the distance is okay. The another item for the asterisk is the pilot attention required. This icon and flag, an asterisk actually, flags the pilots should read the notes carefully, especially in the minimum sections, missed approach notes, and approach path alignment. And the last reason is, in some cases on jobs and chart, especially an asterisk next to the navigation frequency, as same as ILS, VOR, localizer, and maybe communication frequency. For example, ATs, approach frequency and tower frequency, as you see 4 asterisks here. They showing that the facility operates on an on request, part-time, or limited basis. It means non-continuous operation of the facility about the communication frequency or localizer. Okay, let's go for initiation of the approach. We are just exit the hold and going through the initial approach fix. Let me increase the range, and you see that I make manually the 14 miles ILS DME arc along the actually airport and runway. But let's jump into the FMS or MCDU, and you can see there is no arrival or a standard instrument arrival on database for this airport, and also the ILS runway 21 with no via will be started from the actually Charlie India 21 toward Foxtrot India 21 and down to the runway. I inserted the approach speed at a final descent point, and also, although I make this procedure manually in the MCDU, but right now the GPS primary is available, accuracy is high, and also I will check the distance from the ILS when we are proceeding along the 14 mile arc. We can descend to 3,200. And approach checklist is completed. We are right now turning toward right for make a 14 mile DME arc from the ILS and commencing descent with a vertical speed of almost 500 feet per minute. If you are a student pilot, there's a question that how much distance we will be followed from the beginning of the arc on radial 117, which will actually terminate the arc at the radial 037. How much distance is along the arc from the beginning up to end of the arc? If you find that answer and you calculate that, it's easy question, and comment below of this video and share your calculation and also aviation knowledge with the other pilots. Okay, we are exactly maintained 14 miles from the ILS, and we are descending to 3,200, which almost vertical speed minus 500 and alt 3,200 blue. If we want go through the threat and error management and also item today for this airport, you can see that the main objectives are offset localizer, Echo Golf Delta 141 and Echo Golf Delta 044 in the miss approach. Aircraft are remain clear of Echo Golf Delta 141 during approach and Echo Golf Delta 44 during miss approach. These danger areas are very important that perfectly and accurately you go through this approach. And that's why that upon reaching almost 5 miles from the ILS on the approach, I will start the left turn to align with the runway center line, not sooner. Because this danger area 141 is mentioned in the approach, and I observe these areas as a threat for this approach. Okay, we are clear for approach. GS lock blue cat 3 dual AP1+2, and it's better that the other pilot go for Rose LS selection, and that's lock start. Time for configure the aircraft. A speed check, flaps 1, reducing to S speed. Flaps 2, speed check, flaps 2. Reducing to F speed. And gear down, speed check, gear down. Cabin crew, prepare for landing. Flaps 3, speed check, flaps 3. And flaps full, speed check, flaps full. And landing checklist will be ECAM memo, ECAM memo to go, cabin ready, received. Landing checklist completed except ECAM memo. Okay, the localizer is wanted to go, as you see here and also over there. About 11 knot headwind right now. Lock check, glider slope alive. Runway is here, and we will check on later stage on approach. I'm going through the Rose LS2. There is no viewer at the airport, but Lydd actually NDB with the frequency 397 with the identifier Lima Zulu Delta, which is GS star, is approach altitude 3200, which is already set, and also we are on 8 mile ILS. The NDBs are set to Lima Zulu Delta and also selected on the FIS panel. GS checked, and can see that we are on course and just passing a beam of danger area 141. When passing this area, we are able to align with the runway center line, but visually maintain the runway in sight. You can see the extended runway track is a little bit different, about, as I brief already, 5 degrees, and 2500 checked, and is a nice view of Ashford when going for a Offset ILS approach down to the runway. Okay, at the 5 mile is good to turn toward the runway. FT is off. And ECAM memo, landing no blue, landing checklist completed. 5 mile passed. Okay, good. And runway track 212 is set. Turning left for align with the runway center line. Thank you very much for joining me on this offset localizer approach, and I hope this approach for you find useful. And if you have any suggestion or recommendation about this video and also upcoming next videos, I will be glad to have your suggestion and recommendation at the video comment. Again, thank you very much. We are actually on runway center line and going down to the runway. Thanks for joining the BoomerangSimPilot channel, and see you again in the future flights and also videos. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride on board BoomerangSimPilot channel. See you next. Bye bye.
Minimum
Continue.
500.
Check. Go around. Flaps. Passive climb. Gear up.